mi gente, it's Amelia, and we are back for another episode of Pa La Cultura. So today, I have a guest who is new to the show, but we've been here before. We've done this before. I have with me Frías.
What's going on, Amelia?
Hello. ¿Cómo estás?
I'm great. Gracias por tenerme aquí. Thank you for having me here, for running it back.
Yeah.
For having me back on the show, even though last time we did something a little bit different and now we're on Pa La Cultura's platform.
So for those of you guys who don't know, last summer, actually right before I launched Pa La Cultura, I did an interview with Frías. You guys can check that out. I'll actually link it in this video if you guys want to check it out. We did an interview last summer for Frías' channel. And now we're running it back because we have a new album.
Yeah, we do. It was awesome. I had such a good time catching up with you last time. And I knew, when the next thing comes out, we have to connect again, you know? And we've been able to work on other stuff too that wasn't just, interviews.
Yes.
But I'm sure we'll talk more about that. Yeah.
So first of all, Frías, I really, really hope that everybody who's watching this has heard of you.
Me too.
But if unfortunately, fortunately now, they haven't heard of you, at least they know you now.
Now they do, yeah.
So for those who maybe are just coming across you, they've never seen you before, never heard of your music, just tell us a little bit about you and your journey as a bachatero. Just give us a little intro of who is Frías.
Yeah, I think for the person that doesn't know about Frías and, my bachata career thus far, I mentioned in a lot of the interviews that I do and different moments where I express a bit of my history. I started off doing music that was Christian hip hop when I was younger, back in high school. I was a part of this hip hop group that was making a great impact in the Christian hip hop world. And then as I grew up, as I got into my college years, I fell in love with bachata. My reasoning behind getting more into bachata was like, at a certain point, I realized, there's no new bachata stars. Like, it's just the last two people we've gotten has been Aventura Romeo and Royce. I mean, now, thank God, someone like Darwin is really, really breaking through. But up until that point, there was really nobody else cracking. There was a lot of people putting in work and dropping music, but no one else broke through. And so I made it kind of a mission statement in my life of like, if no one else is going to do it, I'm going to do it. Like, I love bachata. I want to see this music grow and globally, but also I want to see it grow years into our future. So I started doing bachata. And in 2020, I put out my first project. It went number 7 on the iTunes Latin charts. 2023, I dropped Si Dios Quiere, my follow-up album. And now we're at NuevaYorkino, album number 3.
Yes. So, as you said before earlier, the last time that me and you sat down together was actually literally like last summer, a year ago. Exactly. So just tell us a little bit about, for the people who saw that interview, what has changed from the last time that we talked, as for you as an artist?
Yeah, I think the last time that we spoke, I was still in the middle of this album. I don't think I spoke about it too much in that interview because I rarely like share. I don't like oversharing. So I would prefer to have something finished and then communicate about it versus me still being in the middle of it, not knowing when there's a release date. And yeah, I think just from that point to this point, a lot has happened in the sense of a lot of music was made, a lot of personal growth has happened. From this time last summer, I had gotten married. I had a lot of big personal life changes that happened. I moved out. So many things. So that shapes your creativity. It shapes your approach. It shapes the way that you interact with your career and your dreams. And for me personally, it pushed me closer to my goals. And it made me be like, the time is now. Like, if I want to be able to do this, I have to go all in on it now. And yeah, we finished the album probably back in April or May and got it mixed, mastered, did the visuals for it. And just, now we're planning this big release event that's going to be happening. So a lot of great things have happened. And I would say just growing musically has been the main thing since last summer when we caught up.
Speaking of which, let's get into a little bit about NuevaYorkino.
Yes,
which is
let's
your new
do it.
album that just recently released. So tell us a little bit about this album, what inspired you to make it, and how it's different from your past projects.
Yeah, NuevaYorkino is an album that I started 2 years ago. And for me, the best way that I can describe it is it's bachata styled in NYC. Like, it's created with the New York experience in mind. And that era of bachata, like that early 2000s bachata that was coming out, that is the bachata I grew up listening to. Aparte de Anthony Santos, Luis Vargas, Raulín, like, I grew up in New York. You're hearing Aventura everywhere, Extreme, Nueva Era, Toby Love, so many talented groups. Even later on, groups like Vena, Loisaidas. So I wanted to make my best attempt at being like, I didn't want to be so experimental, and I wanted to stick as much to the roots as possible, but still being who I am, which is a New Yorker. I have a part of one of the songs. I'm 100% New Yorker and 100% Dominican. Like, to me, I am fully both. I'm not somewhere in between. And this project is that. This project is the embodiment of like, what does bachata sound like on a nighttime drive? What is hearing bachata like on the subway in New York City when you're on your way to work, when you're on your way to school? What's it like listening to bachata when there's a heartbreak or when you're falling in love? Like, bachata is this soundtrack that I see that fits in everyone's life.
Yeah.
And so I've done my best attempt at creating art that feels true to those moments and those experiences. And NuevaYorkino is just that. It's also, an homage to my family, in a sense. My family came from Dominican Republic in the 60s and the 70s to Bushwick and to Bed-Stuy. And I wanted to make music that honored them, that kind of pokes at a more traditional bachata. This album, there is some modern bachatas, but there's also a good amount of like traditional cortavena, música de amargue. And I think that's different because in Si Dios Quiere, it was my first full-length bachata project. And I was still figuring out what direction I wanted to go in sonically. So it was kind of like, well, here's all of me, rather than here's a focused part.
Yeah.
And so I think NuevaYorkino is just way more focused than anything I've ever created.
I definitely get that.
Yeah.
It's very New York, but very like very rooted. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, is there like a certain song on the album that you feel like kind of set the tone for the album, or a song that you feel like was like really special that you really wanted to share, like that sticks out?
That's a good question. That's like asking,
Yeah.
like, which one of your kids has.
Yeah.
I think a marker in this album was when we did Empezar de Cero. That's the one that goes, Llámame. When we did that, I kind of was like, oh, like what that sounds like. That's how this project should kind of follow that path. I don't think that song was in the beginning. I'm pretty sure we made that song sometime around our interview, like sometime in the fall of last year, end of summer. We created that record. And when we made Empezar de Cero, the way the guitar sounds, the beautifulness of it, but still the bachata, cortavena feeling of it, I was like, this is the lane. Because up until that point, Suéltame is on the album, No Puede Ser is on the album, those songs have already come out. Up until that point, those records are still like me in the process of finding like, what is this album gonna sound like? I think when we did Empezar de Cero, it was the gateway to finishing the album. That record for me is like, if you want to hear what NuevaYorkino is gonna sound like, hear this. To me,
Yeah. So when people listen to NuevaYorkino, what
Yeah.
do you want them to take away from this album?
Yeah, I think the main thing that I want people to take away from this album is feeling. Whether you feel like you hate this or you feel like you love this, whether you feel identified with it or you feel like I don't identify with this at all, like I don't like this. But I need you to feel something. If I didn't get you to feel something, I didn't do my job. I would rather you love something or hate something than be indifferent towards it. And whenever I create music, that's the goal. Eso es la meta. Para que alguien sienta algo, para que la bachata es sentimiento. Entonces, si ellos no sientan algo cuando ellos están escuchando esa música, tú no hiciste tu trabajo. You didn't do your job. And for me, my goal is always that. I need you to feel something when you leave with this. If you're taking away from it, like, wow, I feel seen when I'm hearing these lyrics. Like, I feel like he wrote this song to me.
Yeah.
Then I did my job. And the opposite is true too. If you feel like, wow, I didn't connect with this at all, like this is whack, I still did my job. You felt something. people don't remember things they don't feel. But if I made you feel a way, that'll stick with you. And so I think that's my main thing when I'm creating is like, I want you to leave feeling something, you know?
For me, I think, well, I had already heard it before, obviously, but I think for me, a song from this album that really was very interesting to me and kind of stuck with me was Amor Sin Hogar.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's something that we don't really tap into that much in bachata. Like, I feel like a lot of times bachata is very like black and white in a sense. And when I say that, what I mean is like, it's either like amor or desamor.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just like
Yeah.
those themes, you know? But we don't really get a lot of bachatas about grief. So that, like, tapping into that was like very different. Like, I think it's kind of like, you know, how like everybody was very struck by like La Última Bachata.
Okay, yeah.
How like it's like about their partners dying, you know what I mean? About somebody's like, you know, like, so it's like it's a very, very strong theme. And I feel like this is like the, like, in a way, like that type of thing as well. It's like, but this is like the grief. So this is like, you know, what comes after that, which I feel like that's a really, really strong theme. And it's just something that we don't get very often in bachata.
Yeah.
So I feel like that to me was like, oh, wow, like this is not your typical, oh, I'm in love, oh, I can't stand you, or please come
Right.
back to me, or something like that. It's like, it's so much deeper, you know?
Yeah.
And that phrase, like the, what was the,
Grief is just love with nowhere to go.
that is like, yo, it's a fuerte. I was like, yo,
Yeah.
that's something that really, really stuck out to me because I felt like this is so different, you know?
I think I'm trying to figure out how to give you a short version of
Yeah.
this song. That song, I did that song in 2020. I did that song 6 years ago. And it was going to be on Eden, and it didn't make it to Eden. So then it was going to be on Si Dios Quiere, and it didn't make it to Si Dios Quiere. The reason being is I always felt like it was so powerful that I needed to give it the right platform, make sure that the lyrics were communicated the right way, and put the song together in a way that I really believed in it. You know, because it's not an easy theme
Yeah.
and topic to push in a bachata record. And earlier this year, my grandfather passed away, and my grandfather was like my dad. He meant the world to me. My grandpa was the greatest man I ever knew, and so when he passed away, I was like, I gotta finish this, and I gotta dedicate it to him. So actually, in the beginning of the song, the person that says "grief is just love with nowhere to go" is my grandpa. That's actually his voice. And the story behind that, really short, is 3 or 4 years ago, it might have been 2023, 2022, when I was working on the initial version of this song, I had that line, "Grief is just love with nowhere to go." And I said, "Grandpa, can I record you saying this for me?" We did probably like 10 or 12 takes of it, you know, to get it right. And he did it. And I always had it on my phone, and I never used it because I always felt like if I used him in it, it was kind of like letting, like almost if he was gonna die. Like I almost felt like it was like, I felt like it was weird to have a song about grief with my grandfather on it, but he was still alive. So I just never used it. And then when he passed away and I came back to this song, I was like, okay, like God wrote the story this way. Like it was supposed to be like that. I was able to take his vocal, put it onto the song. And I think when he passed away, it was hard. It was when I was getting to the end of this project, it was the most difficult thing I've ever been through in my life. But my grandpa was a huge fan of my music, and he loved my music so much. And, you know, I finished it because I was like, my grandpa wanted me to finish this. So it's a deep song, and I hope that people who lose somebody connect with it.
Yeah.
That's the hope, you know?
I think they definitely will. That was really special. But I'm sorry for loss, and thank you so much for sharing that.
No, of course.
It's very impactful. So I feel like that song
Thank you.
is going to impact a lot of people. So
Thank you.
I feel like one thing about you when it comes to your bachata career is that I've always noticed that you are very good with like the way you present yourself.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, marketing, branding, everything like that. I always like to ask artists like to an artist who like maybe is just starting out or wants to start a career in music, whether it be bachata or anything else, like anybody who wants to be an artist, what is some advice you would give them? But especially, I would say with you, just because I feel like even people who are already established artists could probably take a note about that. There are people who have great music, they're doing great things, they're amazing musicians, they have great songs, but they're not reaching people. And you are somebody who is really good at reaching people and really, making a name for yourself, really putting yourself out there, especially in the digital space. So like, what is some advice that you would give an artist who, wants to get into maybe the industry and doesn't really know much about that, or even somebody who's already been in it and they're just not really reaching people the way that they could be?
I would say number one. Well, first, thank you for saying that. That's very kind. I know a lot of people. Everyone has a different opinion about what I do, and that's beautiful. That's the part of being an artist. But I pride myself in trying to make things look very appealing and aesthetically pleasing to the person who comes across my music. I want, if you come across a video, that the video looks fire. If you come across my Instagram, that the Instagram looks fire. If you come across I want it. I'm intentionally curating that. Like, I pay as much attention to the visuals as I do to the songs. I'm in there with my guy Bruno. He does all my videos. I'm in there with Bruno editing these videos. I'm in there with Bruno, doing the creative direction and coming up with the content. Like, I take care of the visual part of the Frías brand as much as I do the music. So the first thing I would say is, if you're an artist, you have to know that we're in a visual space now. It isn't the 90s or the early 2000s where you could just be great at music and then someone else will take care of the visuals and presenting you. Like, now you have to build the fan base yourself, get the brand yourself, and do the music yourself. And then maybe, a bigger company or a label or an investor will come in and work with you. But you basically got to do it all on yourself. And I think my encouragement to a new artist would be, care about how it looks. Like, don't just care about the music. Care about the music, because at the end of the day, we make music. You know what I mean? It's like if we had if we had a bakery, like, worry about the goods that you're making. Number one. But also, if you have a bakery and you have a restaurant, you also have to worry about making sure that your space is clean, that you have a good grade outside, so that people want to come eat in your space. And so bachata and music is the same way. Like, make great music and then also take time to present yourself properly. Like, think of, how do I want the world to see me? An even better question is probably, if I came across myself, what would I think? Would I say this guy's disorganized? Would I say, damn, he makes great music, but it looks like everything's all over the place? Or damn, he makes great music, but he looks like an amateur. Like, I don't want people to say that. So invest in the good photo shoot. Invest in the good video. Invest in a good mix. And if you can't, take the time to save up money to do things the right way, so that when people do come across it, like, people can say whatever they want about Frías, but they can't say that my visuals are whack. I think that's something that a lot of people, I've heard people that probably don't like my music, but are like, yo, that kid knows what he's doing with when it comes to the visuals. Like, he's got it there. And so that makes me joyful to know, like, yo, even if people don't connect in this area, they're connecting with this.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. Some people might be like, yo, I don't really connect with the aesthetic, but I like what he's creating musically. So I would say paying attention to the visuals as much as you pay attention to the music is key. Because we have so many great new artists. Great new art. I wish I could help, like, do just, not even marketing, just like branding and being like, yo, pick a color and use that color for your brand. Like, pick a logo and use that logo for everything you do. Pick a style. Like, are you a joyful bachatero? Like, are you a silly, goofy guy? You're smiling in all your pictures? Or are you like a serious, mysterious
But I feel like that's
guy?
a lot of it too. I feel like that's something that a lot of time artists are scared of, is that
Right.
they don't realize. And I even tell like my dancer friends this too. I always tell everybody this, because people are like, oh, you're a content creator. And I'm like, well, guess what, babes? All of you guys are content creators. If you're an artist, if you're a dancer, if you do anything creatively that you're putting yourself out there to people, you're presenting things to people, you're a content creator.
Yeah.
So you have to do that. You have to, at the end of the day, I think that's something that a lot of artists don't like to do. A lot of artists, like, they don't want to, go in front of the camera and be like, hey guys, I got a show. Hey guys, I got an album. Like, they don't do that a lot.
Yeah.
And they don't like want to do that. But it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, you kind of going to have to do that. because if people, it's like if people don't know where you are, like if people are not seeing your content, they're not seeing that you got a show, they're not seeing that you have an album coming out or that you have a single coming out or an EP, how are they gonna know? Because at the end of the day, you're an artist, you're putting your music out there for people to consume it. If it wasn't for nobody, then you would just
Right.
keep it to yourself.
Right.
But it's like if you want people to see it, you're gonna have
You
to
gotta
put yourself
promote it,
out
yeah.
there. And I feel like that's scary, and it's true. I know more than anybody that putting that content out there is scary. Putting yourself out there and talking in front of a camera is scary, but it's necessary because
Right.
you know they got to see you. And I feel like that's
It's-
something that you are very comfortable with,
Yeah.
and you've like already grasped. Like, okay, I gotta come out here and talk to the people, and you know, besides also having the aesthetic, which your aesthetic is beautiful and like everything
Thank
that
you.
you put out looks amazing, you're also out there talking to the people and you're like,
Yeah.
hey guys, I got an album coming out, hey guys, I got an event happening. So I think it's a lot of that too.
Yeah, I think if people would realize, yo, the work falls on us. I think that's what clicked in my head because I've always been someone that's been music 1st. I'm a purist. I care about making music first, but it's also like, well, I want other people to hear my music. I'm not just making it for myself, like you're saying. First, I do make music for myself in the sense that I make it and I don't put things out that I'm not proud of, that I'm like, I made this for me. But we're also putting music out there for other people. And so if you're not worried about reaching other people, you're missing a part of your job, you know? So we have to know like, yo, we're the new marketers, we're the new creators, we're the new faces of these brands. There's not a label that's gonna go and do the interview for you and get the write-up. Like, it gotta be us, you know?
Yeah. Yep, you're right. So we talked about the album. So now let's talk about what's coming next. You have a release event. So let's talk a
Yeah.
little bit about that. So we're having an event for the album.
Yes, yeah.
So tell us about the event a little bit.
It's an album release event. We're doing the event Saturday, July 18th. It's gonna be awesome. We're planning so much cool stuff for it. But I'm gonna be performing with a live band. We're gonna be performing the new songs off the album. But I'm also gonna perform some of the songs that people already know. We're gonna have a few domino tables there, so people could be playing dominoes. We have a lot of cool things that we're gonna be like designing for the space and making sure everything looks great. We're gonna have exclusive merch at the event. There's gonna be a bar there. There's gonna be just a million cool things that we're trying to make it a night to remember for the bachata community, for the Frías fan base, and for people that are from New York. Whether it's my friends, family, whether it's people who are fans of my music, we're trying to make this a night that that people are like, yo, I remember when NuevaYorkino came out, you know?
I love it. So, ya tú sabes, mi gente. Bueno, by the time this comes out, it might be sold out already, but you know, try to run and catch them if you can. So, by the time this come out, you might not be able to get one, but if you can get it, then go get it. And if you can't, it sounds like you're gonna have to tune in. You're gonna have to become part of the fan club. So if you guys have never heard of Frías, ya tú sabes, ya por lo menos ahora se enteraron. If you guys have not listened to NuevaYorkino, you guys have to go check it
Yes,
out.
yes.
I already heard it. It is amazing. I love it.
What was your favorite song?
I already said I think my favorite one was Amor Sin Hogar, definitely. Y después de esa, ¿cómo es que se llamaba? The one that had the voice of like the mom, or the like.
Qué maldito
¿Qué
bachata.
Which was
That one's called Como un Ángel.
Como un Ángel. That one I really liked too.
Yeah.
If that one was giving me very traditional.
That one's
and
super
I feel
traditional.
like the moment, you know what is funny though? I feel like the moment that I heard the señora like, ¿Qué maldita bachata? I was like, esta me va a gustar. I don't know why. I was like, I feel like this is it. Like I'm like, when the
Yeah.
song started like that, I'm like, no, the bar is high now. I'm like, I feel like this song is gonna be good. I really like that one. But I also really like Amor Sin Hogar. I don't know. And it's funny because I was thinking like, you know, when we did the vocals for that song, I was thinking, I think this is gonna be my favorite song. But it kind of is my favorite song.
Yeah, you know what's funny? A lot of people. I did a listening session for the album with. We played the album back for everyone that was a part of it, and a good amount of people said that was their favorite one because it just clicked with something so intimate in different people's life, you know, and those songs. If someone loses someone, it's a song that like you listen to and you feel comfort. But there's something on this project for everybody. Like if you're in love,
it's like a lot of I feel like it's a very well-rounded album.
Yeah.
In that sense. Like there's stuff that it's like como que. Bueno, there's like a little bit of like a hype moment, and then there's a little bit like a love moment, and then like a desamor moment. Like it's like, you know, like just little pockets of everything in the album. Like when it comes to like the themes. So I feel like it's just like it takes you on different journeys.
Yeah, it's a
along
journey.
the
It's a
way, yeah.
process. And you know, I know that we're closing out. The point of it is to really represent, like I said, that New York experience of like everyone's going through something different.
Yeah.
Some people are like in a moment where, you know, I feel like the album starts off really high. And you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. So the album starts off super high, and then you get into these bachata records that I think the first one that's like a real bachata is a love song, and then the next one is heartbreak, and the next
Yeah.
one is, you know, greed. Like there's all these emotions, and that's because people are going through so much different things. So NuevaYorkino is out now for everyone that listens to bachata. If you love bachata, give it a listen on all the platforms. Amelia, thank you for having me. Thank you for creating the Pa La Cultura platform and pushing not just new bachata, but things that are happening in our culture. You know, you're doing a phenomenal job. That's why I came out here to Jersey to rock out with you and talk. And yeah, I'm super proud of the platform that you're building. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Well, I mean, thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing about the album. Thank you for including me in the project.
Of course.
'Cause-
Yo, if you guys don't know, so Amelia sings and she's a great singer. And I put together a choir for some of the songs on this album, and she was a part of the choir. So she killed it. Great job, Amelia. Thank you for.
Thank
I think
you.
you got a little bit of a deeper foot in NuevaYorkino than you might imagine.
Yeah. So so it was amazing though being a part of that project. I did actually. I've been telling a lot of people, I'm like, it's funny because I'm a singer, I have that background, but I always did more performance. So actually, I think I told you that NuevaYorkino, that was my first time recording in a studio.
Nah, but
So-
you did great. You did great.
So it was amazing. So thank you so much
Yeah.
for that opportunity. So yeah, guys, so go check out NuevaYorkino and make sure you guys stay tuned with Frías and everything that is going on with him. Make sure you support him because he's an amazing artist and he definitely deserves your support. And thank you guys for joining us again on Pa La Cultura. We will see you guys next time.
Peace.
Bye. Yeah.
Yo quería bachata, mami. Tanto yo.
¡Qué maldita bachata! ¡No me hablen de dembow!